This story is about a village that falls victim to a hooded stranger's sinister plan. The stranger, who is actually a sorcerer, deceives the village elders into believing that he is a scholar in search of a mysterious relic called the Heart of Eternity. In reality, he seeks to use the relic to summon an army of demons and conquer the world. When a young mage named Alaric discovers the stranger's true intentions, he tries to expose him to the archmage, but his concerns are dismissed. The sun had vanished behind the vast mountain ranges that surrounded the village of Tristram, leaving the sky a deep purple hue. The fading light cast eerie shadows on the faces of the villagers, who had gathered around the smoldering remains of what was once their beloved church. The haunting melody of a lone bard filled the air, his mournful tune a reflection of the town's despair. His fingers plucked at the strings of his lute with a skill born from countless nights spent playing in the local tavern. But the melancholy in his eyes revealed the depth of his sorrow. Just a few days ago, the village had been a thriving hub of trade and laughter. But now, it was nothing more than a hollow shell, tormented by the demons that stalked the shadows. The townsfolk spoke in hushed whispers, too terrified to raise their voices above the chilling wind that howled through the streets. But their greatest fear was reserved for the one responsible for their plight. A creature born of darkness and betrayal, a powerful sorcerer who had once been their protector, but had now turned against them. It all began when a stranger arrived in the village, a hooded figure whose face was hidden beneath a cloak of shadows. His presence was enough to send a shiver down the spine of even the bravest villager. But the town's elders welcomed him with open arms, for they believed he held the key to their salvation. The stranger claimed to be a scholar, a man of great knowledge who had traveled the world in search of ancient artifacts and forgotten lore. He had come to Tristram seeking a mysterious relic, a piece of a larger puzzle that could unlock the secrets of the universe itself. But his true intentions were far more sinister. He sought to use the relic, known as the Heart of Eternity, to summon forth an army of demons and lay waste to the world of Sanctuary. As the days turned into weeks, the stranger grew ever closer to his goal. He spent his time poring over ancient texts and scouring the depths of the ruined cathedral, searching for any clue that could lead him to the Heart of Eternity. But his quest did not go unnoticed. A young mage named Alaric, who had been studying under the town's archmage, began to suspect that the stranger was not who he claimed to be. He delved into the stranger's past, uncovering a litany of dark secrets and forbidden rituals. Unbeknownst to the rest of the village, the stranger was a master of the dark arts, a practitioner of forbidden magics that had long been thought lost to the sands of time. Alaric took his findings to the archmage, hoping that his mentor would see the truth and put an end to the stranger's machinations. But the archmage was not swayed by Alaric's impassioned pleas. He saw only the potential for greatness in the stranger's knowledge, and dismissed his young apprentice's concerns as nothing more than jealousy and fear. Angered by the archmage's refusal to act, Alaric took matters into his own hands. He confronted the stranger one fateful night, determined to expose his true nature and save the village from a fate worse than death. But Alaric was no match for the stranger's power. The sorcerer easily overpowered the young mage, ensnaring his mind with dark magics and bending him to his will. With Alaric's powers now under his control, the stranger was unstoppable. He wasted no time in unleashing his demonic horde upon the hapless villagers. Their screams echoed through the night as the monsters tore through their homes, leaving a trail of blood and destruction in their wake. The few who managed to escape the carnage fled into the woods, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that their once proud village was lost. Alaric, now a slave to the stranger's will, was forced to watch as his fellow villagers were slaughtered like cattle. The screams of his friends and family filled his ears, but he was powerless to help them. The stranger's grip on his mind was too strong, and he could do nothing but obey his dark master's every command. The stranger's army continued to grow, bolstered by the souls of the vanquished. With each passing day, the demons became more powerful, their ranks swelling with the spirits of the damned. The stranger's plan was nearing completion, and soon the heart of eternity would be within his grasp. But the stranger had underestimated the strength of Alaric's spirit. Though his body was bound by the sorcerer's magic, the young mage's will remained unbroken. As the days dragged on, Alaric's resolve grew stronger, and he began to search for a way to free himself from his captor's control. Alaric's chance came one fateful night, when the stranger was forced to leave the safety of his stronghold to attend to an urgent matter. Taking advantage of his absence, Alaric used his knowledge of the dark arts to break free of the sorcerer's spell. But he knew that he could not defeat the stranger alone. Alaric sought out the remaining survivors of Tristram, those who had managed to escape the village before it was destroyed. Together, they formed a small band of warriors, determined to put an end to the stranger's reign of terror. Their journey led them deep into the heart of the mountains, where the stranger had taken refuge in a long-abandoned fortress. The warriors fought their way through the demon-infested halls, their weapons clashing with the creatures of the underworld. But their efforts were in vain. The stranger was too powerful, his magic too strong. One by one, the warriors fell, their bodies consumed by the flames of the sorcerer's wrath. Alaric alone remained, his eyes locked with those of his former captor. He knew that he could not defeat the stranger, but he refused to go down without a fight. With a fierce determination in his heart, Alaric charged forward, his staff raised high. The stranger met him head-on, his own staff crackling with dark energy. The two mages clashed in a blinding explosion of magic, their powers locked in a struggle for supremacy. For a moment, it seemed as though Alaric might emerge victorious. His magic surged, pushing back against the stranger's dark powers. But in the end, it was not enough. With a final burst of energy, the stranger unleashed a torrent of dark magic upon Alaric, obliterating the young mage in a blinding flash of light. As the smoke cleared, the stranger stood alone, his power absolute. The heart of eternity lay at his feet, its power now his to command. And so, the world of Sanctuary fell into darkness, its people consumed by the demons that now roamed free. The stranger had achieved his goal, but at a terrible cost. The village of Tristram was no more, its people lost to the ravages of the underworld. And there was no hero to stand against him, no one to challenge his rule. For the stranger had become the very thing he had sought to destroy, a monster born of darkness and despair. And the world would never be the same again. The story concludes with the assurance that young mage's bravery and sacrifice will always be remembered. His actions inspired his allies to fight with even greater courage and determination. Despite his passing, Alaric's legacy lives on as a heroic figure who courageously gave his life to defend his kingdom.